Hey, Patriot Pals, welcome back to the Mel K Show. My guest today needs no introduction. He is America's sheriff. He is out there fighting for God and country every single day. He is going around this country and making things right. Welcome, Sheriff Mack, back to the Mel K Show.
Oh, I missed one day last September, I think. My wife was sick and I had to help take care of her one day. But other than that, it was 364 days last year. In fact, let me tell you the truth about last year. We actually did a webinar about everything we did at the CSPOA last year. 72 public presentations and 7 webinars, TV interviews, and radio interviews every week.
Oh my.
And over 100,000 miles traveled by me, just me.
Well, you gotta be honest. You are America's sheriff. That is incredible.
Well,
Thank God.
We've got a lot of work to do, and I'm ready to do it. And now I'm asking the American people to join us in that so we can quadruple down on what we need to be doing. And my big news is we're going to have the granddaddy of conventions September 30th and October 1st in Las Vegas, where we're going to invite I'm going to die trying, whatever we have to do. And I'm going to tell you this again, Mel, whatever we have to do to get 700 sheriffs in that room at the Ahern Hotel in that convention hall, whatever we have to do to get them there, we're going to do it. And we're actually going to pay them to be there. Pay them. They will not be out one dime. In fact, they will go home with $2,000 in their pocket.
So what's the plan? So we're going to get them there, and what's the game plan?
The game plan is we're going to invite them with email blasts, and we're going to send out a postcard to each one, and then we're going to have their people take personal invitations to them and tell them that they want them to be there. Then the sheriffs who attend will use their own credit card to reserve a room, to get their airfare or to pay their gas, whichever one they do, they drive or fly. And then when they walk into the room that morning to get registered, we will hand them a check for $2,000.
Wow. I mean, this is and you know what? Whoever doesn't show up doesn't belong being a sheriff. Well, I got to be honest.
And that's true too. And we had just an amazing miracle a year ago when we did our convention in the Woodlands outside Houston. And one of the sheriffs there, his name's Scott Williams, he'll tell you his story. We're going to use his story as a basis for our invitation, because this happened to him. He got invited to our convention. He looked me and the CSPOA up on the internet, and he said, "No way, I'm not going. Look at this crap." And then one of his constituents said, "Look, this is a free trip for you. You don't have to pay anything. It's going to cost you a day, maybe a day and a half. Why don't you go find out for yourself if this is a worthy thing to be a part of?" Now he's on our board. He's been on our panel discussions all across the country. And he has said, he'll tell you a story. This is the best training I've ever been to. He sent me 2 different texts after that happened, that while he was at the conference, the light went on and he understood what we were trying to do, and he was converted and he felt the spirit of freedom overcome him, and he said, "This is what I want to do. This is what I want to be a part of." And it was like a conversion to the gospel.
Yeah, it is.
This is intertwined with the gospel. This is God's gift, and liberty came from him to us. And we have an obligation to protect it, and to protect it for our neighbor and our families. And I have an obligation to protect it for you and for the rest of America. And this is all I'm after. I'm not asking anybody to give me anything.
I know it.
Okay? No. But if you want to help and make this thing happen, I'm asking you to join us in this holy cause of liberty and go to cspoa.org. And let's get this thing happening. And to all our posse members and to all the people of this country, if you really want a peaceful and effective solution, and if you want this to happen, then join us, help us, take these invitations to your sheriffs, and let's get them there. If you have to drive him yourself, if you have to go on the plane with him yourself, right, then get there. And any sheriff who brings a sheriff with him will get an extra $500. So a lot of sheriffs could be going home with $2,500, and who knows, if they hit the jackpot at the casinos that night, they could really be pulling it in.
Yeah. Well, let's just tell the folks exactly what. First of all, you've educated many people, including myself, on the importance of the sheriffs and actually their duty and their oath to we the people that many of them don't even realize they have. They are also voted in, so the constituents should be watching right now and demanding their sheriffs show up. But on top of that, what are the main things right now in this predicament we're in? We're in a state of tyranny. I believe that our country has been captured by people that are loyal to a different entity other than we the people, obviously. And the swamp has really gone above and beyond anything I believe that the founding fathers imagined could happen, because we lost patriots and we were replaced, I think, by Marxists.
They've gone below anything that I thought they were ever capable of.
Ever. And so let's say real quick to the people, not to the sheriffs right now, but to the people, what their sheriffs should and can be doing right now to help turn the ship around and save this amazing country.
Okay, well let's list the abuses happening by state and federal government. Let's start with the federal government. What's the greatest abuse that the people of America have been suffering from the federal government for the last 50, 60, 70 years? Which one was that? Which would it be?
Well, to me, it would be the psychological war on people, but above and beyond that, the total.
Which bureaucracy has been committing the most crimes in America for the last 50, 60, 70 years?
Yeah. Well, to me, I would say that it's the military-industrial complex, but you tell me, because you've been on the scene longer than I have.
Well, that's definitely one of them, but the easiest one there is the IRS.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I was just talking about it today. People don't even know it's a private entity owned by a private bank that is beholden to a foreign nation.
And they're going to keep coming after us, and nobody in Washington, D.C. does anything about them. The Democrats and Republicans both allow this agency to serve another entity, to serve the national bankers, to serve the Fed, the Federal Reserve, which isn't even federal. Everybody knows it. And so these people run our money and run the value thereof and run us into the ground and literally put more innocent people in prison every year. Oh, and another thing that's illegal. How about random audits that are not based on the Constitution or any probable cause or due process? And so we continue to allow this to occur as if it's just something we have to accept. And we're not going to accept this anymore. And we're going to discuss this with the sheriffs on September 30th and October 1st to see if we can come up with a plan of action where they put the federal agents, all federal agents, not just the IRS, but the FBI, DEA, FDA, EPA, Army Corps of Engineers, USDA, anybody, all these regulatory agencies that keep coming into our homelands and our counties and depriving us of our life, liberty, and property. And so we're just going to have these sheriffs come up with a plan of action to where they're going to say to the federal government and state government bureaucrats, there's a few things you're not going to do in our counties anymore. And when you list 1,000 counties on there, do you think that'll be a little bit intimidating to a few of these dastardly bureaucrats who think they can get away with everything? Well, it's not going to happen anymore. And folks, I'm telling you, Melke, you already know this. There's not a single abuse going on in this country that the sheriffs cannot stop. And so,
and you know what, Sheriff Mack, you bring that up, and I have to tell you, we just saw something really horrifying in Canada. along these lines with the bankers and the corrupt Fed and the corrupt everything and their overlords in the central bank, which is, we already know, the illegal search and seizure for donating money to a cause that you believe in. They now have the ability to go, if they can do it in Canada, they can do it here. They now are using that.
They've done it here. They've done it here before. Canada probably got it from us.
Yeah. I read about recently all these people that have had their money seized by the federal government without due process, without cause, and then getting it back. They have to hire an attorney to get it back and get back less because of the attorney. Second thing I want to ask you about, I just saw yesterday something really, really disgusting, and it's the same people. These guys, Soros-backed NGO, the Media Matters, all those people, they've gotten together and they are starting a group called the 65 Project. They're going after their law licenses, and the guy, David Brock, he comes out and he says, we're not just going after their law licenses, we're going after their livelihood, we're going to smear them, we're going to make sure they can never work again, will never be able to practice law again. I mean, what is going on with these NGOs and these I mean, it's crazy.
The normal corruption just keeps getting more corrupt. The lawyers, the few of them out there that are called constitutional lawyers, right, or even other lawyers who want to stand and do the right thing for their clients, and if it means protecting them, then they do it. There's not very many of them, as you very well know, and I hope that the ones that have to do it will continue to stand, and that we, the people, will stand behind them. Right. And now let's get the CSQA sheriffs to stand behind them, and let's put these corrupt public officials and corrupt corporations, right, let's put them in their place. Yep. And I believe we can do it. And if we get this army of sheriffs, and I say army, and so people think, oh no, they're planning an army coup and takeover. No, we're planning on a peaceful and effective process to take back our country, because we know that you, the corrupt other side, the federal government and these big huge corporations and the Biden dictatorship want us to be divided. They want us to be violent. They want another civil war. Right. We don't want that. And I'm telling you right now, we have the solution to all of that. If the sheriffs are involved in interposing and intervening and defending and upholding and protecting the Constitution and protecting their people from all enemies, both foreign and domestic, from all enemies, foreign and domestic, we will win this. We will keep it peaceful. And this is exactly what the sheriffs promised to do when they took their jobs and they swore their oath in God's name to do that very thing for all of us.
Yeah, it's I'm in Manhattan in New York City, and I have to tell you, we when people look at it and they say, oh, it looks really dangerous, it looks really violent, it is really dangerous and really violent. And I sometimes hear people say, oh, it's not so bad. It's so bad. And going outside after 10 p.m., going to the subway, going anywhere, and I'll tell you what, I don't know if their hands are tied or whatever, or most of the NYPD that were the old school cops that were like their parents were cops and then they were cops and their grandparents were cops. That used to be the NYPD I knew. Well, they no longer exist, and what I do see is crime, and it's like it's sanctioned by this mayor here, but also by the governor and all that, and the cops aren't doing their job on the local level. And I'll tell you right now, in Manhattan, it's a very dangerous place to be. I mean, it's back like to the 70s. What is going on with all this defund the police, with the what do the sheriffs have to be able, shouldn't they be able to like intervene with these police forces that literally they're sitting there on their cell phone while some guy's being attacked by a crazy person coming off the subway, and they just look. It's the craziest thing.
Well, and not only that, but these sheriffs need to be working with the chiefs of police across the country, and in so doing, go to the judges and have meetings with the judges and say, look, you judges, we're going to have a real problem here if you don't start putting people in jail and quit giving these easy bailouts to where they're literally committing one felony on Friday and they're committing a second felony on Saturday because you won't keep them off the streets. And
I mean, did you ever in your life, you've spent your life in law enforcement, imagine that there would be a world where there was no bail for horrible crimes and committed over and over and over under the guise of something called equity?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, that's a good one. You know, it's not up to these judges to try to create reparations.
right.
You know, that's up to Congress. But Judge, your job is to uphold the laws and to make sure that the guilty among us are punished and taken off the street so they don't get to victimize us all again. We're
Right.
victimized by government so much, but when it's also that government allows these types of crimes to continue, it is precisely the reason why you have such an exacerbated crime rate in New York, Chicago, Boston, LA, San Francisco. And when literally, when murderers get away with murder, what are they going to be afraid of if they do it again?
Yeah.